Imagine you're driving late one foggy night. It's a narrow road, no lights, just your car headlights. Up ahead, you see a shadowy figure just to one side of the road. You pass it. It's late, it's dark. You're not picking up the hitchhiker. A little further up, it's in the middle. You don't see the car directly behind you. You swerve, trying to avoid this person in the road, and end up in the ditch. The car behind you passes like nothing happened. And when the police show up, they can't find anyone or any evidence of anyone in the road. But you swear you saw one, didn't you? Stories like this are told all over, everywhere. It's a hitchhiker that no one ever sees. That's what we're covering this week. I'm Cassie, and this is Behind the Haunt, and this week we are covering the Walney Road hitchhiker. So who and what is this Walney Road hitchhiker? It's a lesser known Northern Virginia legend. Um, but it's another one that I've heard in high school because I was that kid that would go to cemeteries at 2 a.m. Totally not trespassing or anything. Anyways, Walney Road hitchhiker. This story began back before the road was even paved. And one night, a passing vehicle had ran over a man that was out for a leisurely night stroll, killing him instantly. The driver fled the scene. Police were never able to determine who the killer was or the driver. Since then, the road has been paved and homes have been built. However, interesting and rather creepy sightings have been recorded for many years by those who travel this road frequently. Legend has it, if you're driving down this road, you may see the ghost of this man frantically seeking out help on the side of the road. If you drive by, you'll see this figure 2 more times. But if you don't pull over to help, he's going to be in your car and you're going to lose control and end up in a ditch. That's pretty much the gist of this legend. It's very similar to a lot of other hitchhiker stories where you see it, no one else saw it, or you feel it, no one else felt it, and you look kind of like the crazy person that just doesn't know how to drive when you're stuck in the ditch or crashed into a tree. Um, but this particular area where this legend takes place does have a high volume of crashes, and part of it is just the geography, like how this road was built, where it's built. Um, the other part could be the hitchhiker. Let's get into it. So Walney Road is in Chantilly. It connects Braddock Road to Westfields Boulevard, and Centerville Road becomes the name like in the middle around Route 28. It's Walney Road. Um, Closer to Braddock Road, it's a very wooded area and super dark, very little overhead street lighting. And this particular section is right near uh, Fairfax County Public Park, Eleanor C. Lawrence Park. And when you get closer to the Centerville roadside, it's more urbanized businesses. It's where you're going to get your Starbucks. I don't know if there's a Starbucks on that road, but like that area is like all businesses. So a little bit of history is we all love my timelines, don't we? Timeline will be here. In 1727, the first land patents were issued in western Fairfax County. Francis Aubrey bought the first land. In 1739, he sold it to Colonel John Taylor, who in the same year sells it to Newton. The same year, Newton leases the land to Thomas Brown. And in 1742, Thomas Brown is leasing the property on 150 acres, officially with paperwork. So it's not till 1742 that we actually have some paperwork and a paper trail. 1761, Thomas Brown increased the property by 400 acres. In 1780, Coleman Brown built up the property to 725 acres. In 1843, the Mackins bought the property from the Browns. Between 1904 to 1921, the property was rented out under the Mackins. So multiple families are living on this property during this time. Between 1921 and 1935, the property is up for sale. And in 1935, Eleanor and David Lawrence buys this property. And in 1942, the Lawrences purchased the Cabell's Mill Middlegate House. In 1970, National Highway Safety Administration is founded in December on the 31st. In 1971, Fairfax County Park Authority takes ownership. And in 1975, IIHS starts recording traffic fatalities. It is believed that the land that this park currently resides on was originally occupied by Native Americans, just like 99% of North America. Native people were here first. They were probably here first, or probably physically like on that property first, since they were here first. The property began being built up in 1742 with the whole idea that it would be used for farming, primarily producing tobacco. When Thomas Brown was leasing the property from Newton, his rent was 530 pounds of neat tobacco. In 1843, the Mackins had bought the property and they had added on and just improving the techniques and technology for farming. And when Eleanor and David had bought the property in 1835, they also had the Crane and Beresford families living there as caretakers of the property. Because the Lawrences had primarily used it as a getaway from their lives and jobs in DC. They primarily used the property for entertaining family and guests in the Middlegate House, especially during Christmas gatherings. The park is still open to the public. There is a note that there's a gravestone incorporated into a stone wall with an inscription, "All ye that are about him, bemoan him, and all ye that know his name, say, how strong is the staff broken and beautiful rod." That's Jeremiah 48. And this quote was used in the 19th century for eulogies as praise or subtle condemnation. So, is it good or bad? We don't know. The mason who placed the stone said that there was no name on it, and it probably marks a slave's grave, but no one knows. That's just a weird little bit of information that's a part of the building itself or the property. Could it be the marking of the mysterious hitchhiker. We don't know. We don't know anything about this engraving except it's there. Um, and what it says. Uh, for this particular story, I could not find a lot of credible firsthand accounts. This is one of those stories where you hear it not even like from a third person kind of thing. It's like person A told person B told person C, and I'm letter Y at the end of the line, hearing the same story that's been passed around. So there's not a lot of um, firsthand accounts that I've been able to track down. I'm sure maybe on Reddit somewhere amongst the fluff there is some credible stories, but you got to be careful with the Reddit stories because a lot of the time, because you can post them anonymously, there's no way to verify if anyone's actually been there. But we do have a story from a paranormal researcher interviewed by the Fairfax County Times, October 25th of 2024. It's only 2 years ago. Um, Alex Matsuo had been chasing ghosts in one form or another since she was 15. During the day, she is a learning experience designer for a major cloud company. In her spare time, she is a paranormal researcher, investigator, and author who moved to the area about 2 years ago. Her research has been a nice way for her to learn about the area and its history, and she starts her research online, but she gets plenty of help from local librarians and a team of like minded paranormal enthusiasts. This story could be traced to the late 1800s or early 1900s, and it involves a hitchhiker in a period trench coat that appears on a stretch of road where several fatals have happened. If a driver sees the ghost, it is highly advised that they offer to pick up the hitchhiker. They have three chances to make this happen. If they don't pick up the hitchhiker and they keep driving, the ghost will appear again. If they pick up the hitchhiker and if they don't pick up the hitchhiker and they keep driving, the ghost will appear again further down the road. If the driver declines again, the ghost will appear again later, a third time further down the road. If you just don't give this hitchhiker a ride, you crash. And usually you crash because the ghost is in your car now. You're going to get spooked. You're going to hurt. And so that is pretty much the gist of this specific one, or a little bit more detail to this specific story. Um, like I said, there's not a lot of firsthand accounts that I've been able to find, but there are quite a few fatals that happen on this stretch of road. And so that is one thing to keep in mind. Because some of these crashes are of younger people. Some of them like probably should just not drink and drive, but not all of them are completely at fault for anything. So this first one, the Washington Post, Virginia youth article dies in crash September 1st of 1991. A 15-year-old Chantilly youth was killed early yesterday when the teenage driver of the car in which he was riding lost control and struck two trees. Fairfax County police say Christopher Andrews of the 13,000 block of Stephanie Lane was pronounced dead at Fairfax Hospital after the 12:30 a.m. crash. The 17-year-old driver, Stephen Lunson of Centerville, was admitted to Fair Oaks Hospital for observation. Police said Munson was driving a 1989 Chevrolet Beretta east on Poplar Tree Road near Walney Road when he passed three cars in a no passing zone. When he returned to his lane, police said he lost control, swerved off the right of the road, and hit two trees. No charges have been filed, but the investigation is continuing. Police said alcohol was not a factor. Again, from the Washington Post, this was the Metro Section, Virginia, December 14th of 2003. Thomas Bolt Jr., 27, was sitting in the front passenger seat when Gregory Moldenhauer, 25, the driver, lost control of the vehicle after midnight Friday. They crashed into a tree on Poplar Tree Road. Bolt died on scene. Moldenhauer was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Fairfax County says speed and alcohol were contributing factors. I am judging you if you're drinking and driving and speeding. You're stupid. Anyways, but take note of the location. This next one was in 2006. Crash claims life of Chantilly High grad. This is from the Connection newspaper, Wednesday, September 13th, 2006. September 2nd, Christopher DeGiorgio was riding his motorcycle through Walney with his mother following in a car. He was going to drop off his bike at the shop for a part that had came in. After a dip and curve in the road, Christopher crashed into a 2006 Dodge Stratus, perpendicular to him. The Dodge driver was turned around, trying to get to a wedding in the area. Christopher had no history of speeding or reckless driving. So those are just 3 fatal crashes that had happened in the area. There are so many more. But like, this area has such a high volume of crashes. Like when I'm working, I hear on the I listen to the Fairfax County radio when I'm working because it helps me show up to crashes a little bit faster. But there's crashes on Walney Road multiple times a week, and you will hear it crash right near a poplar tree at least 1 to 2 times a week, which I find really interesting. Um, and we will get to that a little bit later. We do have one experience. Is it an experience? It's creative writing. This is from Jenny's blog, and I will include photos that she had posted with her blog. This is the Walney Road Hitchhiker that she posted June 7th of 2010. Jenny had heard the rumors of Walney Road, known by locals not only for high frequency of fatal crashes, but it's also known to be haunted. Jenny went to the area to document the historic park through photos. As dusk approached, she couldn't shake the feeling of unease, even at the visitor center. She reminds herself to focus on her mission and not allow herself to get spooked. This place is rich with history and perhaps something more ominous as well. She enters the abandoned smokehouse. Jenny snaps some photos, pleased with how they turned out. As night approaches, she wraps up, turning to leave, feeling panic rising in her chest as darkness began to fully envelop her. Clear as day, she saw the figure, then screamed. It was a scarecrow. She giggled nervously, forcing herself to breathe calmly and to settle down. This was ridiculous. Why was she letting this place affect her? Of course there would be a scarecrow in the garden to protect the vegetables. It had just surprised her, and that was all. But then, but she had not remembered seeing that little hut in the woods before. No, no, she was quite sure of that. It had not been behind her when she began taking photos of the smokehouse. And yet here it was. Who would build something like that way out here? She had the distinct impression that the scenery around her was changing, trapping her somehow. Forget the photos, she needed to get out of here. She scrambled past the hut, willing her eyes away from its dark entrance, telling herself she saw nothing within it. Why'd she ever thought that the lighting at dusk would be better for a photo shoot? Her sense of urgency grew with each passing step. If she could only make it to the parking area, to her car, she would be safe. Hadn't it been up here? On the left? Yeah, she was sure of it. Where was it? She lost her footing, and the fading light cast her terrified eyes upon a makeshift altar. This was the final straw. She would ask no more questions about what or who would come to rest upon this pile of sticks. She broke into a full run now, barely able to see the path at her feet. Her instinct to escape burned like coal in her chest, spurring her onto where she thought she'd left her car. The forest itself seemed to be closing in around her, blocking her way out. At last, the clearing. But wait, this is not the parking lot either. What was this place? It appeared to be. Oh no, it couldn't be. Through the rickety wrought iron fence, she could just make out the tombstones. Right at that moment, headlights from a car appeared out of nowhere, illuminating the graveyard. She was safe. She clawed her way through the tangled tree limbs toward the car on Walney Road. She would flag down the driver and ask to be taken to the parking lot. Anywhere but here. Sweet relief was just a whisper away. She began to call for help, her whole body begging the driver to hear her plea. And then she stopped, cold, silent. Outlined in the glow of the headlights was the figure of a hitchhiker. So that is the blog that, or the writing portion of the blog that Jenny had written. Um, she does mention in a comment and to a comment reply to another comment saying that it is a fabricated story, but she was very interested in the myth, the legend, this hitchhiker. She is familiar with this area as it is a road that she takes weekly on her trips to church, and she edited the photos to kind of give blitch, a Blair Witch Project kind of vibe. She was here for the vibes. And so that was like the best firsthand account. Firsthand, it's embellished. But as for me, I have been down this road many times myself. First time was in high school, and this was a fun date night. Let's go see spooky things. And we didn't see anything. We also might not have been there late enough because high school, Virginia, there's the curfew for driving if you're under 18. Um, but I have been on that road since then. Um, I always got a weird vibe on that road. I, for a while, just purposely would not drive after it was dark. Like, there specifically. When I had a dog that I used to walk and dog sit for, um, if I needed something and it was already dark and I was at that house, I was Uber Eats. I would Uber Eats food. I would not get out and go pick up food anywhere. I'd walk the dog at night because that's not specifically on Walney Road. That's like in the neighborhood. But me being on Walney, no, wasn't happening. Um, but I'm sure that if I had dug through the Reddit stories, there could have been a couple reputable sources. kind of hard to determine what's reputable versus what someone just is really good at BSing about. But I do have a theory that this hitchhiker could potentially be the person of the unmarked grave, as one, just they want actual recognition. The other thought is the Lawrences did have a lot of holiday parties and get-togethers, and since they did um, own the land prior to crash reports being tracked, it's very possible that one of their guests could have um, gone out for an evening stroll or something and gotten hit by a vehicle, or even like the driver of a guest could be like a more distant kind of person, someone just hired for the party, could have gotten hit. It's unknown. There's not a lot of solid documentation for where it started, but that road is creepy. I try not to get stuck on that road. Also, it's not a great place to get stuck even if you don't believe in ghosts because it is narrow, it's dark. If someone's flying around the corner, they're gonna hit you if you're stuck. And it's gonna suck. So I just don't drive there at night. But if you've ever experienced the Walney Road Hitchhiker, tell us below. Send me a message on Instagram or TikTok. I would love to hear it. Um, if you have any suggestions or any other stories is that you've heard, again, send them my way. I would love to hear them. And I can't wait for you all to come back next week where we will be going over the Maryland Goat Man, where I have a whole wall of notes and a timeline because the Goat Man gets a lot deeper than what I ever anticipated. There's a little bit of government conspiracies with that, and I can't wait to finish researching this one and, and share it with all of you. So until next time, this is Behind the Haunt.